to the C minor. So for that reason, that's how that works. So here's what we're going to be doing together, and this is the right hand. I'm going to still be counting in 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So very simply, for each arpeggio, so for the C minor and the A flat major, you're playing the arpeggio twice and then shifting. So if I were to do it very, very quickly, now that's not what you're aiming to do right now, but that's just to, prove my point. So practice doing that on your own for a second, and then when you're ready, unpause the video and we'll have a go together. Okay, let's have a go at this together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Move up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So hopefully that should be fine. So your left hand is going to be playing the root note at an octave for each chord. So let me explain. Because the arpeggios are based on the chords, it's very easy to know what the left hand is going to be doing, because it's going to be the actual root note for the chord. So in C minor, the root note is obviously going to be C, so your left hand is going to be playing C. Then, because we're in the A flat major arpeggio, A flat, the root note would be A flat. So we go to A flat over there. Even though the lowest note in that inversion is still C. If we were in the root position, we'd be playing this as the lowest note. But no matter the inversion, whatever the chord is called, that is the root note. And there's really no time where that's going to be not applicable. So here's what you're going to be doing in your left hand. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you repeat that in proportion to your right hand. So if you are not yet comfortable using a full octave on your left hand, or you have a smaller keyboard, then here's what you can do. You have 2 options. If you have a smaller keyboard, then you can move everything an octave up if the left hand doesn't, if you don't have the space on the left hand. So you can do up here. But if you're simply just not comfortable doing the octave yet, so you can just use one hand, you can play the C on 1 and the A flat on 3. And you're going to switch like that. Okay, here's what it's going to sound like together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and then you go again. Okay, so pause the video and practice that on your own for a while. And when you're ready, come back. But I would suggest that when you're practicing, you try and keep a time, right? So you can either use your foot, like 1, 2, 3, I don't even know if you can see, or you can say it out loud, or even both. Okay, so come back when you're ready. All right, so we'll have a go at this together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and move. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and move. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and move. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so good job. And you might have noticed that I was, telling you to and move, significantly earlier before the actual 1 beat. So this is because you want to anticipate the movement you're going to make to make it much, much easier on your brain, because you don't want to have like too much things that you're thinking about at once, and there's like this pressure of the time always moving forwards. You want to kind of prepare yourself so that it's a very, very smooth transition. If you wait too late to decide when to move and actually have a plan on what you're going to do, then that's where a lot of mistakes come from, and this is actually a problem that a lot of musicians face. So anticipation is very, very important, and it's a skill that we're going to definitely be building on. So just before you next have your big move, decide, like look exactly what you're going to do and decide. So when you're playing the C minor arpeggio, now you can decide, okay, I'm going to just move my pinky up. Or on your left hand, you're going to go that to the E flat. And it makes it much, much easier if you plan ahead. So if you had trouble staying in time, do that again, but with the anticipation, you will see an improvement. Now, arpeggios combined with harmonies in left hand can go many, many different ways in many different complexities. Now, obviously what you just played is, quite a basic version. It can go much more in depth. For example, so you can see I'm using a lot of different things. I'm using the pedal, which you'll learn about, different variation of that arpeggio, but we're definitely going to work you up to that higher level. But we got to take it step by step first. Now I'm saying this because it's very common for people at the start, especially, to make things much more rushed than they have to be, because it sounds cooler. Like, of course it sounds cooler when you do. Of course it sounds cooler, but if your mind to muscle connection isn't there yet, you're asking your brain and body to do too much before you can actually do it comfortably. And for that reason, when you go really fast, you might not have control, so you might be doing and getting the wrong notes, and you're off time, different strengths, which also we're going to get to. But for now, take it slow and do the tasks that I say do them, because everything is planned in a specific way to get you there efficiently. Now, for your actual task, there are 2 things I would like you to practice. Your first thing is to do the both hand arpeggio up and down for C major. So this is what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I want you to practice until you can do it at that level comfortably and in a controlled way. Now the second thing is just basically to practice that exercise that we did together of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, ideally, it would be great if you can get it up to that level. It might take you, a little bit longer than your previous exercises have been. But if you can get it up to that speed and control, then that would be going above and beyond what, people at your level will be doing right now. So, take your time with both of those. And your extension task is to do the arpeggio run, but on a different key that is more difficult. So I'm going to pick for you D major. So instead of the C major, you're going to do it on D major. And it's the exact same concept of you take the chord, the 1, 3, 5, and you just play that one by one, because that's the chord. You do it on left hand, and back down. And that would be your extension task. So that's all for this lesson, and please watch the next lesson once you're comfortable with those initial 2 tasks. And obviously your extension task is optional. All right, I'll see you soon. All right, welcome everybody to this lesson. and I'm going to be talking with you about rhythm, time signatures, and chord variations. So this is going to allow you to play chords in a more interesting way, in a more enjoyable way, actually playing it, but also for the listener, give you an all-round confidence boost when you play anything, not just chords, but this will also translate into your other upcoming skills, especially when you go and try and learn chordal-based songs online and you just see chords, but you don't have a sense of how quickly you're playing it, in what way. This is going to help you massively with that. So to start off with, let me explain what rhythm is. It is a very important component that you find in all music. So a rhythm is describing how fast you're playing certain sounds and the gaps or silences that are in between those notes. You might have a bunch of notes that have short gaps of silence in between, and you might have other groups of notes with long gaps of silence in between. And this collection of playing and not playing notes and how fast is what makes up rhythm. So to give you a demonstration, I'm going to play something that has a very, very simple rhythm. Now I'm going to play something which has a more complex rhythm. So you can see there, the second one, I had more variation in how close those gaps are in between the notes, and then I elongated those gaps afterwards. So it's really, rhythm can be very, very simple, or it can be very, very complex. One other thing to note about rhythm is that it has a sense of beat, like it follows a steady beat. There's usually this consistent movement about it. You can, like snap your fingers to it, you can clap your hands to it, you can move your body to it. That rhythm that you feel when you're at the dance floor, for example, or you're just listening to music and it makes you want to move your body, or you're moving your head to it. That's what I mean by the steady beat to the rhythm. So this beat I'm describing can be counted, and this is essentially what time signatures are. Now, time signatures I'm not going to go into huge depth into right now because that's going to be coming later. I'm just going to give you enough for you to understand the concept in a way that will be very useful. That's also not going to confuse you, because if I give you too much information now, it might be a little bit too much for this stage. So to keep things simple, there are two types of beats that I want you to be aware of. You have 4 and you have 3. So you can clap like 1, 2, 3, 4, or snap your fingers, whatever you want, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a very, very, very common beat that you find. Now you have the other type of beat, which is in 3. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or maybe a faster version, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You find 3 times mostly in waltz songs, like in classical pieces, but you also do find them in a bunch of modern music as well. So when I'm describing this beat with either 4 or 3, these are called time signatures. I'm just going to refer to them as times, just to avoid, any confusion of, signature or whatever, because again, I will explain that later. So I might say, okay, I'm going to count in 4 time, or I would say, okay, I'm going to count in 3 time. And the only difference there would be if I'm counting up till 4 and repeating, or if I'm counting up till 3 and repeating. That's the only difference. So to explain this, I'm just going to create something in 4 time, and then I'll make you something for in 3 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's an example of 3 time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now that we have the foundations down, we can start to explore more interesting rhythms for chords. Now, so far you may have been playing chords in one of these ways, so either like this, or like this, or this full version. Now, Ideally, you're at this full version, like you can comfortably play this. But if you're not yet and you still need to practice that, obviously that's fine. And you could just follow in whatever form you're comfortable with right now. So I'm going to play this in 4/time in a very, very simple rhythm. Every beat is going to be a note. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time I snap that finger, the beat will be when I play that chord. So here's what that would sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you would just repeat like that. Now, if I want to make it slightly more complex, I could play twice every time I do the beat. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could also simplify it. So for every 2 beats, I will play once. So to demonstrate, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just want you to pay attention that I'm holding the notes down for, the full length of that. I'm not cutting it too short. So instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm extending it to that full length of the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's actually start to look at your options for when you're going to go and look at chords for, online songs. So let's say that the sequence of chords you saw online for a song that you like had C major, A minor, F major, and G major. This is a very, very common sequence or progression. And this is what they sound like: C major, A minor, F major, and G major. Now when you're online, kind of like how we did for Hallelujah, and you're just seeing chords, it does not tell you how to play rhythm. It does not tell you how fast you're going to be doing it. It does not tell you when to have more complex rhythms, when to have simpler rhythms, when to hold back. It doesn't give you any information like that. So in those situations, it's really up to you and just the general pace of the song, because you might know the song itself. So if you know Hallelujah and you know how it's supposed to sound, then that will be your kind of guideline for what rhythm to play. Here's how you may have been playing chords online up until now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So we're gonna slightly increase the complexity there, where we're gonna leave the left hand exactly as it was, but we're going to double the time we're playing on the right. So this is now what we're gonna sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's also an option. Another option is to make the right hand very simple, but make the left hand a bit more complicated. So here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you wanted to make it a lot more complicated and take a huge jump, this is also an option. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So now you have a sense of what your options are, how you can make more interesting rhythms when you're playing chords. You could try making your own, what's kind of comfortable. So here's what I would suggest. You start from where you are, which is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, as you were very simply, and upping it so that it's the next small step that is not too big of a jump. So here is the order of rhythms that I want you to practice separately. So here's the first level. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. What you can do is take it right hand first and then left hand, and this is always a good process to have to separate your hands. So first you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just practice moving from chord to chord, maintaining the beat. This is the most important thing that you must always be aware of, and that's being on time. Not being too early and not being too late. Now, I don't mean being so robotically precise that you are exactly on the millisecond, but it means that you're not lagging far behind enough that it's disrupting the rest of the piece, and you're not early enough that it's also not disrupting the piece. Obviously, you're gonna make these mistakes, so, don't hold it against yourself. I'm just saying be aware of keeping in the time. Now, a great tool to help you stay in time is called a metronome. Now, metronomes they come in various shapes and sizes. Some of them are built into a digital keyboard. So like this one, I've got a button that allows me to start a metronome, and then I've got buttons that decreases the tempo, which is basically speed. Other buttons that change the time from 4 time to 3 time. So those are, things that you can have on actual keyboards built in. But more commonly is that you would go onto Amazon or something and you can buy an electronic metronome. If you don't want to go and buy a metronome, or if you're on an acoustic piano that does not have built-in metronome, obviously that's completely fine. A great way is to just go online onto Google and just type in online free metronome, and you set your settings, and then you can use it that way. And this is something I highly recommend you get comfortable using, because being able to stay in time is without a doubt in the top 3 most important skills a musician must be able to do. Because if you're playing along to a singer, if you're playing along to a song, if you end up learning a different instrument and you go and play in an orchestra, if you play in a band, staying in time is very important. And if you're really adamant on not using metronome at the start, at the very least, I would, count out loud. I would, use your foot. Or do something to keep you in time. So once you're done with level 1, this is going to be level 2. You don't have to go through all of these right now, but this is going to be your task for the end of the lesson. So you can either do it now or after the lesson is done. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you're comfortable with that, here is level 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and you can go as long as you want. One thing I'd like to add is you might find yourself with a very firm wrist. This is something common I see, where they just play with their fingers alone rather than moving with their wrist. So you can see how my wrist is kind of dropping. I'm not like throwing it up and down, but I'm letting it play in a relaxed and natural way. Maintaining the arc and good form is also important. Now, level 4 is gonna, instead of using 4 time, we're gonna be using 3 time. Now, this is gonna be a little bit bigger of a jump than the previous levels, so be patient with yourself when you're practicing this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can call out what number you're going to be playing on, so it's actually 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So you're only playing on a 3 and 1. Okay, so now that that is more solid in your head, it's just a matter of doing it. I would practice the left hand first and then just add in the right hand slowly. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now you can go as slow as you want, as long as you have this steady beat. You can make that beat really, really slow if you wanted to. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as that beat is moving, equally and forwards, then that is completely fine. Go as slow as you need to. And then you can gradually move the speed up until you can be able to play something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember that for each of these levels, you're playing the entire sequence, not just on the C. So doing levels 1 till 4 is going to be your task for this session. Try not to rush through. Take it one hand at a time and go slowly at the start until you can go comfortably. And only move on to the next level once you've done it 5 times through comfortably. Now level 5 is completely optional. That is if you're very confident in levels 1 till 4 and you want an extra challenge. This is going to be it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So if you want to just practice that and figure out that yourself by chance, you can obviously do that. But if you want me to explain an easier way to get this done, then here it is. You can subdivide the counting into saying 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, because the and is that extra beat that we're adding. So it would be 1, 2, and 3, 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 and so on. So that's how you could count it. It's much easier that way. Take it slow, and if you're really confident, then you can go faster, but maintaining the same beat. That is going to be the hard thing to do. 1, 2, and 3, 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 1, 2, and 3. That's what's going to be challenging if you do want to take this challenge. But either way, if you're doing 1 till 4 and you're fine with that, you're more than prepared to move on. So good luck, and I will see you in the next lesson. Okay, welcome back everybody to this lesson, and I'm going to be explaining to you scales. Now scales, for those of you who had previous lessons or somebody who's taken traditional piano lessons, scales might be quite a trigger point for you, and it is, rightfully so, for a lot of people. And the reason is that most piano players started when they were younger and they were aiming to take an exam held by ABRSM, Trinity, these different examination boards. But all in all, they have to practice certain things assigned by them from the syllabus. Amongst those things are scales. Now, the way that those exams work is that you have grades. Grades that increase in difficulty that you take, most commonly every year. Now, whether you're at grade 1, grade 5, grade 8, you'll always be practicing scales, and it's a requirement that you have memorized a certain amount. This is where the dread comes from, those exams, because especially when you start to go higher up in those grades, you take lessons for a few years, you're going to realize that you have to memorize perfectly, like 50, 60 different scales, and you have to memorize them perfectly, and in these different variations, these different forms of playing them. Now, I'm not just sitting here bashing on those exams. I don't actually have anything against those exams, because I did them myself and I learned a lot. The only concern I have is when people realize that the traditional route is not what they want. They feel like they have no other option but to just, YouTube some tutorials and just kind of recite. But you're not actually learning. One thing I wish they did in those exams is teach theory. But because I have studied theory, I can show you this technique which you have like no idea how much time this is going to save. You have no idea. Before I just explain what even scales are or why you should learn them, let me just quickly preface that there are obviously benefits to memorizing perfectly every single scale. I'm not saying that's something that you should not do. Because of course, if you are able to do that, you're doing amazing. I'm saying that for you to be able to understand music better and to gain the benefits of scales, your only option is not to practice 50, 60 scales perfectly. So now that we have that out the way, let me explain what scales even are. It is simply a rule set that tells you what notes you can play and what notes you cannot play. So, for example, a C major scale is comprised of these notes. We have 8 notes, right? So all scales are made up of 8 notes, and we cannot play any black notes. We can't play any of these white notes. Now you might have guessed already, but you could have a C minor scale. So this is what that would sound like. Now don't worry about, wondering why is it specifically these black notes, because there is theory to that, which I will teach you soon. But for now, you just need to know that in this specific minor chord, that is simply the order of notes you play. Like there's no other way of going about it. That is simply C minor scale. If we take another look at this zone we have here, of these 12 different notes that you have, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is C again, so it's not different. So these 12 different notes, we know that each of them repeats. But now you have to know that each of these notes have their own scale. And each of those scales could either be a major scale or a minor scale. I will say that you can have variations, like there are actually 3 different types of minor scales that you could play, but we're not gonna focus on any of that right now. But I just thought I'd mention that just so that you're aware. So let's take a look at the actual scale. We know that for C major, we're playing these notes, but one of the mechanics of the scale are called degrees of the scale. So you're simply taking those 8 notes, that order of the scale, and you're counting it from the distance of the root. So if I take C, which is the root of C major, obviously, that would be a second, a third, a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. The 8th is obviously also an octave and the root. Chords come from the scale, okay? It's not that scales are simply just related to the chord, or that scales come from the chord. Chords originate from the scale. Because the scale is a rule set, chords are constructed from that rule set, which is why they have this sense of order about them. Like when you're counting 4 semitones and 3 semitones, it's consistent. Well, here's another way you could create those chords. You can count 1, 3, 5 of the degrees of the scale. Put them together and you have the chord. Now you might be thinking, well, what if I wanted to make a minor scale? Well, here's where that differs from the 4-3 method. With this method, you are taking the scale itself. Now, if it's major, if it's minor, it does not matter. No matter the scale, you take 1, 3, and 5 and you have the chord. But the chord tonality, whether it's major or minor, is specific to the tonality of the scale. You cannot play a C minor chord from a C major scale because the C minor chord is outside of the rule set of C major. C major, that's the rule set. If you play anything outside of these notes, it is not in C major. Because a C minor chord has an E flat, it's outside of it. So you can't play that from within a C major scale. Now let's take a C minor scale. I take the 1, 3, and 5. That's a C minor chord. The actual principle is the same. It's still 1, 3, 5. But because I did it in a minor scale, I got the minor chord. If I do 1, 3, 5 in a major scale, I get the major chord. It's that simple. So that is an alternative way of creating chords. I would primarily use the 4-3 method because in most cases that's just more convenient. But in a lot of situations you also do find yourself, it's just more convenient to play it from the scale. Now, the very important question, why do I need to learn this? Why do I need to understand this? These are questions that are asked by people who are practicing scales. So in my personal experience and the experience of some people I know who took the same exams as me, we didn't really think about why. We just thought about doing it properly because we want to get good grades from the exam. The exams and lessons are not typically structured in a way that teaches you why. But if you have a great teacher, then obviously they just explain it. But when you understand scales, you're understanding the core foundation of 99% of music. When you understand the scale, what notes you should be playing and what notes you should not be playing, you instantly have more confidence. You instantly know this piece I'm playing is in C major scale, therefore I automatically know I'm avoiding black notes. You see what I mean? Now if you're in a different scale which has black notes, by you understanding which notes are played and which notes are not played within that scale, your fingers are magnetized towards the correct notes. Not only is there the physical benefit of that, you just have more consistent playing, more enjoyable playing because it's easier, you're focusing on less things, but your general understanding as a musician has gone up. So much music that you're gonna want to learn have scale-like melodies in the right hand or left hand. And by you practicing these scales, you are not only more prepared to play them with more understanding, but you already have the muscle memory to play that more confidently. You can also simply not improvise without having knowledge of scales. You need to know how these rules interact with each other for you to improvise well. Because if you don't know this, of course, you're gonna hit all the wrong notes. And not only that, but your melodies will not be nice to listen to. Even chords, like I just mentioned, you can create much more complex chords from these scales, like, a C major 7 chord. Okay, so let's get to some actual playing. I'm going to teach you how to play C major scale in your right hand and in your left hand. I'm going to be counting in finger numbers, all right? So you go to C, which is the root, and you play 1, 2, 3. Then you move your thumb underneath, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, you're playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can go back down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're a more visual learner, you might want to look at it in terms of blocks. So these 3 notes will only ever be played in your right hand by the 1, 2, 3. You will never find yourself playing this F with your 4th finger, right? You're never doing this. It is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're playing this with 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you come back down, it's the exact same thing. You're playing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to make sure that you're bonding your fingers to certain notes. And that does come with some practice, but as an absolute baseline, 3 notes that you have to be careful of. The root, you always start and end with 1. You always play E with 3, and then you make your transition. And you always end on the C with number 5. So I'm going to play through the scale again, and watch for those checkpoints of C, E, and C. You may find yourself mixing up the finger numbers, which is very normal. It is a very natural thing to do. Almost every single student I have ever taught has done this mistake. The key here is to help yourself by preventing these mistakes from even emerging. And if they do emerge, you make sure you correct it. You must correct it, because if you don't, you're allowing your brain to accept that as an option. One quick tip that's definitely going to help you is to tuck your thumb underneath in advance, right? This concept of anticipation is going to come up time and time again, but you have to be prepared. You don't want to find yourself in a position of 1, 2, 3, oh, I forgot to move it, and then you do it again, because that takes away from the smoothness of it, the grace. So it's 1, 2. As soon as you're done with that, as soon as that lifts off, you start moving it to the F. Okay, so pay attention. You can see this wrist movement as well, moving in this direction. All right, so pause the video now and have a go at that a couple times until you can run through it up and down at an even pace. And then when you come back, we'll have a go at doing that together. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say and 1, and we're going to come in on 1, right? So normally I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, but I'm not going to do that this time because I don't want to confuse you with me counting 1, 2, 3, 4 as in the same as 1, 2, 3, 4 on your fingers, because that tends to influence them to play that with 4, and that you definitely don't want to do that. So I'm going to say and 1, and I'm going to count the fingers. So and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's try this together. So get ready, relaxing your wrist and your shoulder. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so no matter how you did there, good job for trying to keep in pace. This is obviously something that you're not going to get perfectly in the first time, so be a bit patient with yourself. Make sure you're going steady, slowly, in an even pace, right? The worst thing you could do here is just try and do it really fast, like, and you get the wrong notes and you're forgetting which fingerings you're using and you're developing those bad habits. And as I mentioned a lot, we're definitely trying to avoid those. Something that commonly happens when I'm teaching people one-to-one, because they don't have this finger independency control, this finger strength, they tend to play their scales like that, and that's completely normal. Don't, hold it against yourself if you're playing like that, because this is normal. It's not because you're doing, worse than average or anything like that. It is simply the actual mind-muscle connection that you have. In our daily lives, we mainly use our fingers in this motion, right? You're opening a door, you're shaking someone's hand. This is the motion we usually use. But now that you're learning the piano, you're learning to control your fingers one by one, and you're not used to doing that yet. So creating this finger control takes some time to develop. So if you're seeing these kind of tremors, or that you suddenly play a note much louder than the rest, these are normal things. I'm not saying ignore them, I'm saying be aware of them and correct them when you can. So try to keep even pressure, not playing anything too loud or softly, out of nowhere, like that, and that will help you greatly. So now we know the basics of how to actually play a scale. We're going to do the same on the left hand, but it follows a slightly different pattern. Instead of playing the first 3 notes and then switching, you play the first 5 notes and then swap. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Then you go back down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try and keep your wrists relaxed. Try and keep that good form, this arc shape, and relax your shoulder. As piano players, it's very common for our shoulders to tighten up. For now, at least be aware and relax it when you can. Similarly to the right hand, you're having benchmarks on when you're transitioning, what notes you must play with what fingers. So the root C is with 5. You get to the G, you're always playing that with 1. So every time you see a G, you're playing that with 1. Then the top C is with number 1. So your checkpoints per hand. Left hand is C with finger 5, G with finger 1, and C with finger 1. Then for the right hand scale, you're playing root C with finger 1, E with finger 3, and top C with finger 5. This process that you've just learned on how to play a scale with your right hand and how you play a scale with your left hand applies to 98% of all scales that you learn. No matter major, minor, B flat minor, F sharp major, no matter what it is, it still follows the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 for left. Take this slowly. Be patient. Once you are able to go up and down 5 times in a row at a steady pace, right hand and left hand separately, then you are ready to move on to the next lesson. Your extension task for this, it is completely optional for now, but that would be to try and play both hands at the same time, which is going to feel a bit strange because different fingers are doing different things at different times. This is what it sounds like. That's your extension task, again completely optional, and if you want to take that challenge, I would advise you to become very fluent with one hand separately, very fluent with the other, and then put them together note by note, incredibly slowly, so slow that you cannot make a mistake, like this slow. Literally that slowly, and then very incrementally get faster until you can do. Besides that, great job with this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, welcome back everybody to this lesson, and here I'm going to be teaching you a couple more scales and introducing you to key signatures. Now, key signatures is very, very important because this is going to come up time and time again when you're learning new songs, when you're improvising, when you're reading music, when you're playing with other people, with scales, with just being confident and relaxing on the piano. Key signatures is a huge part of that because it's one of these foundational concepts that when you get good at it, I promise you, like, there's a 50% jump in how easy it is to understand the piano, and then the second half of that comes from the actual technique that you're using. So when you employ the theory and the technique together, you get to where you want to go. Now, before I start explaining what key signatures are, I want to say and acknowledge that yes, scales and these basic foundational exercises and concepts may seem tedious to some people, and you can trust the process I'm using because everything is designed with your progress in mind, especially with the enjoyment of the journey. And this is coming from somebody who had a 10+ year journey and is still on that journey. So I know what the annoying parts are, I know what the amazing parts are, I know what's exciting, I know what's tedious. I can understand where you're coming from if you do feel like these things are a bit of a pain to practice. You really do just have to think about this as sharpening the axe. So a key signature is referring to the sharps or flats that you're playing in a certain scale. Remember that it's not just black notes that can be sharps or flats. White notes occasionally can also be sharps or flats. An F could be an E sharp, a B could be a C flat. It is very rare that you find this, but it is something that you should be aware of. So let's take C major. can see that we do not have a key signature. We're not playing any sharps, we're not playing any flats. And in fact, C major and one other scale are the only scales in music that don't have any sharps or flats. That one other scale is A minor, which is played like this. So really, if you can play C major comfortably, you're in a very good position to play A minor, because it's literally the exact same scale, but you're starting and ending on a different place. No black notes. Every other scale, however, follows a particular rule, which I'm definitely not going to go into much detail in this lesson, but I'm just going to introduce you to this. All scales are either sharp scales or flat scales. What I mean by that is that when you look at the key signature of these scales, there won't be some sharps and some flats. They're either all sharps or all flats. So with C major and A minor, there is no key signature. But let's say with C minor, which I did briefly show you, but I don't expect you to be able to play instantly. I've got this one, and that one. Now, for C minor, we call this an E flat. This will be an A flat, and this will be a B flat. The key part here is that you're not calling it a D sharp. You're not calling this a G sharp, and you're not calling this an A sharp. Because C minor falls into the flats category. And anytime you have a scale in the flats category, you never call the key signature by its opposite name. Let's say D major. The key signature for D major is F sharp and C sharp, meaning anytime you would normally play an F or C, we're making those sharps. You're replacing them. You're not adding them to the scale, because remember, a scale can only be 8 notes. So this is what's going to sound like. I go from D, and you can see how I'm playing these two sharps. Now, again, I am not calling this G flat or D flat. This is F sharp and C sharp, because D major falls into the category of sharp scales. The reason it's so important for you to understand this is because there are scales which have very similar black notes. And if you call them by the opposite name, you could be confusing it for a different scale, or the scale that you're playing is just straight up wrong. When you're talking to other musicians who are familiar with scales, you might not understand what they mean, or they don't understand what you mean. So you can see it can cause a lot of confusion. So just be aware that you're calling the sharps or flats by the correct name, not the opposite one. This is much easier to follow when we start reading music soon, but just for now, it's important that that's clear. Okay, so let's say that you are learning a new scale. Let's say that we did G major. So G major, obviously we're going to start on G and end on G. But you need to know two things: the key signature and the pattern you're using. The pattern you use, which is what fingerings you're using. So right hand, as we saw last lesson, is always going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No matter the scale, it's always 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there are one or two exceptions. But just for the most part, think about it like that. And the left hand is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So like I said, the pattern does not really change, but the key signature does change from scale to scale. And it can change quite vastly. At the stage that you're at right now, you're not going to be able to just calculate or figure out the key signature of any scale until I teach that to you in a circle of fifths. So for now, I'm just going to tell you the key signature, and you're just going to practice the scale with the right notes. So let's move right into it. We're going to fly through a couple scales. I'm going to introduce them to you. I'm going to give you a bit of time to practice that, and then at the end, I'll show you everything we did and how to do it, and that will be your task. So the first thing we're going to do is G major, and the key signature for G is F sharp. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice that I'm not adding the sharp to the scale, I'm replacing it from the natural version. So this is what some people do. Like, obviously that sounds wrong, and it is wrong. A, because you're adding the sharp instead of replacing it, and B, because now you're transgressing the 8-note scale. Remember that one of the rules of scales is that they always have 8 notes. So by adding that extra note, you now have 9, and you shouldn't have that in a scale. So just remember that key signatures replace the natural versions of their notes. One quick tip that will make it easier for you to practice is to say aloud the letter that you're playing. And just pay attention that you're not playing F, it's F sharp. So example, G, A, B, C, D, E. I know what's coming next is F in the alphabet, but because this is G major and the key signature is F sharp, I'm not playing F, I'm playing F sharp. And then I can come back down. Notice the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3, 2, 1. So pause the video now and just have a go at that a couple times on your own until you can just get the gist of what notes you're playing and how you're doing it. Remember just to relax your shoulder, elbow, and wrist, and to go slowly, okay? You do not have to go that fast. In fact, you don't have to go at any particular speed. The only thing that matters is that you are at the steady pace and that you're hitting the right notes. So go so slowly that it is impossible for you to get a note wrong, even this slowly. It really does not matter because you're going to be making it gradually faster over time anyway. So really, just start slow and go at a steady pace. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so we're going to play this together so that you can get used to this process. I'm going to be counting the finger numbers, not the beat, right? So I'm not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm not counting the beat, I'm counting the finger number. Okay, so get ready, get into position. I'm going to say and then we come in. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now once your right hand is comfortable, and by no means does it have to be perfect at this stage, I'm just introducing you to the scale so you can get a gist of how to play it. Once you've done that, you're going to do the exact same thing on your left hand. Okay, so you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when you're playing right hand or left hand, just make a mental note of what finger is playing the sharp or flat. So with G major on the right hand, it's going to be 4 on the right hand, and that will be one of your checkpoints. For the left hand, it's going to be your number 2, so right there. So to recap your process as we move through each scale, you're going to identify the key signature. Make sure you're replacing the natural versions, not adding to them. Okay, so you only have 8 notes total. You play the right fingerings slowly until you can comfortably play the scale at a steady pace. Okay, go as slow as you need to. And then step 3 is to play the left hand once you're done with the right hand.